New York, February 1949. A contract sits on a mahogany desk. $100,000. No baseball player in history has ever earned this much. The zeros seem almost fictional, but the contract is real. Joe DiMaggio, 34 years old, picks up the pen. Flashbulbs explode. Reporters shout questions. How does it feel? What will you do with the money? DiMaggio smiles, answers carefully, reveals nothing. The Yankees owners shake his hand. Everyone in that room believes they have won. The Yankees have their star. DiMaggio has financial security. The press has their story. Everyone won, or so they believed, because nobody knew what would happen within 24 hours. Nobody could predict the curse would begin. And nobody could foresee what DiMaggio would ask himself 3 months later, alone in a dark hotel room. It's, will I ever play again? February 8th, 1949. Morning. DiMaggio wakes in his apartment. He swings his legs out of bed, a routine movement performed thousands of times. His right foot touches the floor, and immediately, he knows something is wrong. The pain is not dramatic, not sharp. It is subtler. A dull ache in his right heel, a tightness, a sense that something inside the bone is not quite right. He stands, tests his weight. The pain increases, spreading from heel up through Achilles tendon. He walks to the bathroom, each step uncomfortable. He tells himself it is nothing. Probably slept wrong, probably stiffness. It will pass, but it does not pass. February 9th, the pain is worse. February 10th, worse still. By mid-February, arriving in Florida for spring training, he can barely walk without limping. The Yankees medical staff examines him. They know the history. In 1948, DiMaggio had surgery at Johns Hopkins Hospital to remove a bone spur from this same heel. The procedure was supposed to fix the problem permanently. Dr. George Bennett, the surgeon, had been confident. The bone spur was removed. The damaged tissue was repaired. DiMaggio spent weeks in recovery, following every instruction, doing every exercise. By the time he returned to the field in 1948, the heel seemed fine. He played 153 games that season, hit .320 with 39 home runs and 155 RBIs. Led the American League in both home runs and RBIs. Finished second in MVP voting. The heel held up. There were no complications. The surgery appeared to be a complete success. So, when the pain returned in February 1949, it felt like a betrayal, not just of his body, but of the promises made by medical professionals, of the hope he had carried through months of rehabilitation, of the belief that he had fixed the problem and could move forward. The Yankees medical staff examines the heel, runs tests, takes x-rays. The images show something that should not be there. The bone spur has returned, or perhaps it never fully left, or perhaps the surgery created scar tissue that has now become its own source of pain. The doctors cannot say for certain. What they can say is that the heel is damaged, inflamed, and getting worse. They recommend rest, ice, anti-inflammatory medication. DiMaggio follows their instructions religiously. Nothing helps. Every morning, the pain is there. Every step is a reminder of what he cannot do. And slowly, the reality begins to settle in. This might not get better. This might be permanent. This might be the end. That spring training becomes a nightmare. DiMaggio cannot run, cannot field, can barely stand in the batter's box. Casey Stengel, the new manager, watches with concern. He had counted on DiMaggio to anchor everything. Instead, his highest-paid player hobbles like an old man. The press notices. Questions multiply. Will he be ready? Is his career over? The Yankees issue vague statements, but privately, executives panic. They just made him the highest-paid player in history, and he cannot play. April 1949. The season begins without Joe DiMaggio. Every game he misses, whispers grow louder. Newspaper columnists write about the $100,000 mistake. Radio shows debate. DiMaggio retreats to a hotel, closes the curtains, disappears. He watches his team on television, watches them struggle without him. The guilt overwhelms him. He is being paid more than anyone to do nothing, to wonder if this is how it ends. May passes, June arrives. DiMaggio has now missed 65 games, more than one-third of the season gone. The Yankees are staying competitive, sitting in first place through strong pitching and Stengel's creativity. But everyone knows they are operating at a disadvantage. The Red Sox are loaded with talent, led by Ted Williams in his prime. A pennant race is brewing, and the Yankees are fighting without their greatest weapon. The sports media has largely written DiMaggio off. Articles appear analyzing whether the Yankees can win without him, whether they should even expect him back. Some writers are blunt, calling for retirement with dignity rather than dragging out an ending nobody wants to see. And others are measured but reach the same conclusion. The body has limits. Age is undefeated. Joe DiMaggio has reached his. The headline writes itself, the $100,000 mistake. Baseball's most expensive bench player. DiMaggio's final season? Each story cuts deeper than the last. The criticism is not cruel for cruelty's sake. It is simply the logical conclusion drawn from the facts. A 34-year-old player, injured, unable to recover, collecting the highest salary in baseball history while contributing nothing. The math does not work. The optics are terrible. And worst of all, there is no end in sight. No timeline for recovery, no promise of return, just silence from the Yankees, and an injured player hidden away in a hotel room. In that hotel room, DiMaggio reads every word. He has always read the newspapers, always paid attention to what is written about him. Now, isolated and injured, he consumes the criticism, lets it build inside him, fuel for something he cannot yet name. The guilt is crushing, not just for missing games, but for what his absence represents. He thinks about the contract signing in February, the flashbulbs, the handshakes, the promises. He thinks about the Yankees' ownership, who took a risk on him despite the heel surgery. He thinks about his teammates, fighting without their leader. And he thinks about the fans who believed in him, who expected greatness, who are now watching him fail in the most public way imaginable. Mid-June, something changes. DiMaggio wakes one morning, and the pain in his heel is less. Not gone, but diminished. A subtle difference that might mean nothing or might mean everything. Then he stands carefully, tests his weight. Still uncomfortable, but manageable. He walks to the window, pulls back the curtain for the first time in weeks. Sunlight floods the room, harsh and revealing. He looks terrible. Weeks of inactivity have left him pale, thin, out of shape, but the pain is less. And that means possibility. He calls the Yankees, tells them he wants to test the heel. They are skeptical, have heard this before, have watched him try and fail multiple times already. But they arrange a private workout. No press, no fans, no witnesses. Just DiMaggio, a few coaches, and the empty stadium. June 27th, 1949. Late afternoon, Yankee Stadium. The building is silent, eerie in its emptiness. DiMaggio walks onto the field wearing a special shoe. No spikes on the right foot, just a thick pad under the heel to cushion impact. He picks up a bat, feels its familiar weight, the smooth wood, the balance. A coach throws batting practice. The first few swings are tentative, testing boundaries. Then muscle memory takes over. The swing is still there, still smooth, still powerful. The ball jumps off the bat with that distinctive sound he has heard 10,000 times but has not heard in months. He hits for 20 minutes, growing stronger with each swing. Then comes the real test. Running. He jogs slowly from home plate to first base. The heel holds. He increases speed, first to second. The heel still holds. He completes a full circuit of the bases, not at game speed, but faster than a jog. When he returns to home plate, he is breathing hard, drenched in sweat. But he is also certain. He can play. Maybe not at 100%, maybe not without pain. But he can play, and that is enough. More than enough. That night, DiMaggio calls Casey Stengel, 5 words. "I'm ready. Put me in." The Yankees are scheduled for Boston, 3 games starting June 28th, against the Red Sox in Fenway Park, hostile crowd, high stakes. Stengel asks if he is sure, if he wants exhibition games first. DiMaggio's answer is firm. No exhibitions, no easing in. Put me in the lineup. If I am going to fail, I will fail in a real game, against real competition, with everything on the line. Stengel agrees but tells no one. Not the press, not the players. This will be a surprise. June 28th, 1949. Fenway Park, Boston. Evening. The crowd begins gathering hours before game time. Word has leaked that something unusual might happen. By first pitch, 36,228 people pack the ballparks, a night game attendance record. Well, most are Red Sox fans, but rumors circulate. DiMaggio might play. When the lineup is announced and DiMaggio's name is read batting cleanup, the reaction is complex. Boos because he is the enemy. But also cheers, genuine appreciation from even Boston fans. This is not just another game. This is a test of will, of body, of legacy. DiMaggio walks to the on-deck circle in the second inning. Every eye watches. The pitcher is Mickey McDermott, 20 years old, fastball, confidence. He sees a 34-year-old man who has not played in 3 months, whose body has failed him. The first pitch, ball. The second, fastball, belt high. DiMaggio swings, contact. The sound is pure, clean. A line drive into left center. A single. DiMaggio runs awkwardly, the special shoe making his stride uneven, but he reaches first safely. The crowd stands. Yankees applauds. Even in enemy territory, even among those who hate the Yankees, there is recognition of what this means. He is still here, still capable, still DiMaggio. 2 innings later, third inning, situation different. Phil Rizzuto on first, 2 outs, Yankees up 3-0. McDermott winds up. DiMaggio swings. This time the sound is explosive. The ball rockets toward left field, toward the green monster, that famous wall. But this is not a fly ball. This is a shot. Rising, carrying, heading for the screen above the wall. It clears everything. Home run, 2-run homer. As DiMaggio circles the bases, protecting the heel, showing no emotion, something shifts inside him. The doubt, the fear, the 3 months of wondering, all of it releases. He has not just hit a home run. He has answered every question asked since February. The game ends 5-4. The Yankees. DiMaggio's 2 hits are the difference. But this is just the beginning. Thursday, June 29th, Game 2. DiMaggio goes 2 for 4, another home run. The Red Sox pitchers cannot figure him out. They throw inside, he adjusts. They throw breaking balls, he waits. Every pitch he is ready. Friday, June 30th, series finale. DiMaggio hits 2 more home runs. The final numbers, 3 games, 5 for 11, 4 home runs, 9 runs batted in. The Yankees sweep the Red Sox, a sweep that will prove crucial as the season unfolds. The statistical absurdity is hard to process. 4 home runs in 3 games. Against the best team in baseball, in their park, with their fans watching. And he did it on one good leg, wearing a special shoe, playing through pain. The story explodes nationally, not just sports pages, but front pages. Eating DiMaggio's miracle return. The $100,000 man delivers. Suddenly every question asked for 4 months is answered, not with words, but with performance. DiMaggio plays 76 games total in 1949, only 76 out of 154. But in those games, he hits .346 with 14 home runs and 67 RBIs. His on-base percentage is .459, highest of his career. He strikes out only 18 times in 329 plate appearances. But the numbers only tell part of the story. The real story is what his presence does to the team. When DiMaggio is in the lineup, the Yankees play with confidence. They believe they will win because he is there. The pennant race comes down to the final 2 games of the season. Yankees versus Red Sox, head-to-head, separated by 1 game. Win 1 of 2, Yankees take it. Lose both, Boston wins. In the final game, DiMaggio makes a defensive play that saves the pennant. A ball deep to center, a ball that should be a triple. DiMaggio, on his damaged heel, somehow gets there, makes the catch. The Yankees hold on, they have their pennant, they win the World Series against Brooklyn. Joe DiMaggio, who missed 65 games, who was written off, who was called a $100,000 mistake, has delivered a championship. Years later, sports writers would call 1949 DiMaggio's greatest season. Not because of statistics, though those were remarkable, but because of context, because of what he overcame, because of how he answered questions that should never have needed answering. The $100,000 contract, subject of so much criticism and doubt, became vindicated in the most public way possible. The Yankees got their money's worth, not in games played, all but in impact, not in full seasons, but in crucial moments. When it mattered most, when the pennant hung in balance, when the team needed their leader, DiMaggio was there. The curse that seemed to begin the day after signing, the heel injury that threatened to end everything, became instead the setup for the greatest comeback of his life. February 1949, a contract is signed. Everyone believes they have won. April 1949, everyone believes they have lost. June 1949, the truth reveals itself in 3 games at Fenway Park, 4 home runs, 9 RBIs. A statement written in the only language baseball understands: performance under pressure. There was no curse, there was no mistake. There was only a test, a question posed by fate or circumstance or the simple physics of a damaged heel. Can you still do this? Can you still be who you were? Oh, can you justify the faith placed in you? And Joe DiMaggio, in those 3 days in Boston, answered with such force, such clarity, such undeniable proof that it silenced every critic, validated every dollar, proved once again what he had spent his entire career demonstrating. Greatness is not about avoiding adversity. Greatness is about facing it when everyone expects you to fail and succeeding anyway. The mystery that began in February was solved in June, not with explanations or excuses, but with home runs. 4 of them when he needed them most, when his team needed them most, when his legacy needed them most. And baseball has never forgotten.